That's for sure what
it would have been so awesome for me and Rick to get caked. That best screams cake me.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I always say. You should get caked at least once in your life by the cake guy.
Down on the strip where the neon glows, there's a little shop everybody knows, where history's bought and treasures are sold. Gold and silver, stories unfold. When the doors close and the lights dim low, Rick and Chum kick back, friends they get to know. Gold and silver by day, but at night, my friend, pawn after dark is where the stories and laughter never end.
Today we have Steve Aoki, a legend in the game, a legend in my world, collectibles, Pokemon. You have such an awesome collection, so many things going on. And we were just talking before this, and Rick forgot that we had filmed an awesome episode with you already.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm 60 years old. We've done 700 episodes.
So tell me about all this stuff on the table. Usually a guest will bring like one item, but we got a plethora of collectibles here.
Yeah. There's a lot of different things. I mean, we can get started with the music side of things, which is really interesting. So, obviously everyone knows about graded cards, graded comic books. Everyone knows this. Like now you're grading VHS tapes and video games. It's very common now. But grading music is still like a new concept. And vinyl, recorded media, all that stuff is also, there's the rare things, the scarce things, and they're all, there's a collector that already collects the raw vinyl and the raw cassettes. So why not grade them, encapsulate them, and preserve them?
Well, I see this Nirvana Nevermind. May I?
Yeah.
No, this is kind of brilliant because people have collected, I never thought, I wish I would have thought of it because people have been collecting albums forever.
Yeah.
And, they were collecting the albums long before they were collecting the Pokemon cards.
Exactly.
Why wasn't anybody grading them?
Exactly.
And is that a real butcher cover?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
That's the 52 mantle of vinyl. That's like the one everybody wants. That's
the Holy Grail.
That's the Holy Grail. That's So this is.
So what is this?
It's the Butcher Beatles album cover where it was banned because when they did this album cover protesting the Vietnam War, and it was too grotesque for the label to release.
That was like 1963 or 1964, right?
Yeah, I don't know the year, but they actually so what they did was they tried to recall them, and they put a sticker of like a more palatable cover portrait of them, and then that's the second state, and then there's like three different kinds of states of this particular album, but the one where you could see it's all peeled off, that's the third state. So people stickered it, and then you could peel it off and you could see the original cover underneath. So this is the third state, and it's a a numerical grade of 3 because it's just so beaten up. But the fact that you have you could see the Butcher album cover is pretty legendary.
So they came out with that album cover. I know a little history on it. Yeah, they came out with that album cover. It was just way too risque for the time. Then they put the sticker. So they didn't want to redo the whole album, so they put the sticker over them. Okay, and then they came out with the next album without that underneath. So, and people will peel because the album's worth so much money that they would try and peel off that sticker.
Exactly, yeah.
And usually it would just tear the whole thing apart.
Yeah, it was just destroyed. The first state is the one where it was pre-stickered. And those ones they fetch a huge sum. Like I think one just sold on Heritage for like 25 or 35,000. So this one I bought on eBay raw. I saw this on eBay and I bought it for like $1,500 or maybe $2,000, and I immediately got it graded because it's just like these kinds of things. Like you're not going to play a Super Mario Brothers video game that's classic, that's limited edition, that would be high grade, and you're not going to play the Butcher's Beatles album cover. So that's when you grade music like this.
Yeah, no, it makes. I mean, the collectible market is huge, and I grew up on Nirvana, so to see like this graded Nirvana, what is that, like a disc?
So that's a long box. So obviously we know compact discs and like they're smaller, right? Mm-hmm. So there's a period of time where when the CDs they started to compete with the vinyl, they had to create the same size of a LP to display in the record stores.
It was
So,
also
yeah,
and it was
it was a very
also-
short period of time.
It was also much harder to steal those from the record stores,
Right, yeah.
than they're just a little square.
Exactly. So like just to get a sealed Nirvana long box is far more difficult than just getting the CD.
Well, even the
So
CDs are like fetching a pretty dime
Oh yeah,
these days.
yeah.
It's
I mean that
insane.
like raw is like, probably $1,500, and then graded a 9 is probably like $5,000 or something like this. So it's obviously we grading just like anything, the higher numerical grade, you're going to fetch a premium.
Okay, so you guys have like you got like guys that are experts looking at these things. They can tell if it's like a first pressing, first state, and everything else like that.
Yeah. So we have like a couple of graders there that look at the detail, look at the matrix number, look as much as they can to making sure the actual seal is real. Because, they say factory sealed, and it's like a new seal. This happens with Pokemon boxes, right? Like they say a sealed box and they just reseal it. So you have to have that kind of information and that kind of expertise. So there's a lot of authenticity that experts that are demanded in our field, and we have some really great experts.
I mean, this is absolutely. I mean, really is just amazing because, I mean, literally ever since I was young, people, there's been collectible records, but it's always an argument like, the condition, like, I mean, basically, there wasn't even a number grading system. You know what I mean? I'd say I'd say it's nice, but it's not great. And like, but
There's like VG, G, there's like they do that with music, like very good or mint, and like it's like now we're kind of using the sports car TCG grading scale instead of using a VGG. That's like that's the way they grade. There's like 5 different ways you can grade vinyl. And obviously with cards and sports cards and comic books, it's more, you have 10 different numbers, or some case like Beckett is more than that.
So what got you into, collecting music and wanting to get this stuff graded?
Well, I mean, during COVID, I went like massive in Pokemon and massive in sports cards. For me, I've always been a collector, but I wasn't a collector of things that had this resale value. I never looked at it like, oh, I'm going to sell it. Because I always had an insane record collection. I had a pretty extensive comic book collection, but they weren't valuable because they were beaten up, And I had my cards, so they were beaten up. They weren't valuable. So during COVID, I was like, oh my God, I got to get the higher grade. And now I want to go for the Grails. I was like, if Pokemon, the Grail is the Illustrator card. So I got to get that. So that's one of the chases and journeys I went on to get that card. And then I started acquiring collections. I started going after, the Grails of all different sports, all different TCGs, and my appetite is quite full there. And then I went back to my records, and I'm like, this is like 2021. I'm like, well, I don't know why these aren't graded. Like these aren't treated the same way that comic books are. So then, took some time. We built a company. And now we're a full-scale music grading company for the last 16 months.
Yeah, like I said, I think it's brilliant because, I mean, I saw the video game market, how it went up and down. I saw the videotapes, how it went up and down and everything like that. This is an established market. I mean, guys much older than me, I know I'm not that old, though.
You're pretty old.
Okay, that have been collecting records.
The thing with the video game market was like the Pokemon, the sports card market, if I was to sell you something and you decided you didn't want it anymore, I would happily buy it back from you for a little bit less. And they didn't really have that in the video game community because it just happened so fast. But I feel like the music industry, records, albums, cassettes, that's just an established market already where it probably has a lot more. It's already like a lot farther along in the collectible market
Absolutely.
than video games were.
Well, yeah, there's like you said, there's people been collecting vinyl records, cassettes, 8-track. They're already doing it. So we're just institutionalizing it as a collectible asset where it's protected and authenticated. So if you end up buying a record for a big sum, it's protected by authenticity from a grading company.
So I noticed you have some color labels next to the grade. Do those mean anything?
Yeah, so the green is opened. So it's like there's also sealed, and also autographed.
Okay.
So Like the green is right there. I don't know if I could
Yeah,
zoom this.
green.
Yeah. So so this one is sealed, and that one actually was given to me by the Pokemon company. So this is a Pokemon soundtrack that was limited to 150. So I think I got this from the Pokemon company. Then I went on eBay and I was just buying them up because I'm like, this is like, when this matures, people are gonna want a limited edition Pokemon vinyl that's graded. So I got a couple of those. This is autographed, so you have yellow. So this one I bought this off Golden. So this has Cliff Burton's autograph, which he passed away early in the Metallica years. So having Cliff Burton's autograph that's authenticated was pretty special. I think this tape is really, really cool. So this is the Nevermind promo, and these tapes were only sent out to radio stations and magazines to promote the album. So there's how scarce these are. They barely made these. So to get something like this is super special.
That's really cool because so many back in the day they would get so many of these tapes, they would just throw three quarters of them in the trash.
Exactly.
They'd never even play them. Like I never heard of this guy. And this is super cool.
Yeah. So that one sold on Golden last year for I think $12,000, and I just bought it. So I bought it I was able to buy it privately around the same price.
Okay.
And I just think that's just like one of those
That's
things that's going
really
to go up
cool.
in value because, just
So-
like anything, scarce, hard to find things that people always want is the stuff that generally goes up.
Okay, I've always said this. There's just something about music. Okay, you can read a book maybe once, maybe twice. Okay, but you can listen to music over and over again, and it's still there's this thing that goes on in your brain, and you get this feeling that you get from nothing else. There's just something about it. It's the one thing you can do over and over and enjoy it every goddamn time. It's all part of our childhood. You remember how important music was when you were 13 or 14 years old? You're in the music business, but just when you're 13 or 14 years old, you got that.
When you were 13, what was the song? It's a long time ago.
That's actually interesting. Because that age is when that age is when music became my lifestyle.
Yeah.
It wasn't just like I'm going to listen to it on the way home from school.
Well, when did you start DJing?
I DJ'd in my 20s, but music became my essence of being at that age because that's when I picked up a guitar.
Yeah.
That's how I was like, I want to be in a band. I want to play music and all those bands that I used to listen to off of these mixtapes that my friends would share with, we'd share together and vinyl 45s. That became my soundtrack to, my identity. So that age is actually really important for a lot of people.
Yeah. Well, Rick had a question actually. What were you asking me earlier? If I knew if they graded
Do you grade? How far back do you grade on records and stuff like? You go back to the shellac 78s and stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't think we've done anything there, but now we're grading master tapes. We're grading tapes. We're grading reels. We're grading lacquers. So I even graded because I started my label before I was a DJ. I started my label in 1996. And I found the first metal lacquers that create the vinyl, and I was like, "Holy shit! We gotta encapsulate this." So I sent that off, and now it's graded. It's got a little museum tag at the bottom, just like everything else.
Yeah.
And it's just cool to see that stuff. And we're talking to estates, we're talking to all these incredible estates, talking about what we could grade for them. And a lot of times we're like, well, we have the master tapes from this session, or we have, these kinds of things, they need to be preserved. So that's what
because there's
we're
so
doing.
many people out there who have this stuff at their house. Okay, they got grandpa's record collection or something like that, and it just without a grading service or anything it's just so hard to sell. You don't know what you're doing, and especially with vinyl, you're afraid to ship it and everything else like that. But if you can get it encapsulated, get a real grade on it, and now there's comparables where you can sell it and it's a real market. But literally, it's the same as with the coin market back in the 1980s. It was just you try and sell a coin. You go to a coin show, try and sell something, you'd be arguing for a half hour what the grade is.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Until, PCGS and NGC came out, and then it just completely changed the market and like just massively increased the volume. And this is what you're going to do with records. I think it's absolutely it's a brilliant business idea.
So grading albums is, I think, kind of fairly new as far as like people accepting it.
Oh
right?
yeah, it's brand new.
How
It's brand
how is
new.
the collector market from the raw record, raw tape collector kind of taking this?
I think the raw, especially vinyl collector, they haven't adopted it yet. I think this adoption is really going to be coming from people outside the industry. So it's people that are collecting cards, collecting comic books, collecting all these other assets. Because I know a lot of people that just they start, like for me. I started with sports cards, and I went into Pokemon. Then I went into comic books. I had comic books, so I would grade them. Then I went to manga. Then like I have some video games. So I just kind of have like a little mixture of everything, of things that have impacted my life. Like, oh, this impacted my life, and it's within the budget. I want it on the wall.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to start from these kinds of collectors, and then when the market starts growing, then some of these purists, the vinyl purists, will end up going, I'm never going to play this test pressing.
Yeah.
I'm never going to play this first pressing Ludwig mix of Led Zeppelin because I don't want to just, keep having my needle over the vinyl, and I'll just listen to it on Spotify. So there's certain people like that. They'll be like, I'm absolutely going to preserve that. So at the end of the day,
Yeah, I mean, I think anybody who's a collector is crazy not to just like completely embrace it. It verifies what you have. I mean,
Yeah.
it's it archives it. You know what I mean? Let's face it, vinyl records are really, really fragile. If you put it in the plastic holder,
warp is
yeah,
kind of,
it's a lot safer when it gets dropped.
So what else do you have over here?
Yeah. Okay. So we got the AMG stuff. I have some presents for you guys. I got the dog I showed you earlier, and then these two right here.
You want me to hold this? I can hold it.
So these two are for you guys. So this is
Okay.
So just a little gift.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
what's
So Dimmock's my label. We're about to hit 30 years in 2026 next year, which is crazy to me. And this is when we hit our 2015. So that was our 20th anniversary vinyl that we
Super
released.
cool. No, because I really don't collect vinyl as a collector. I got vinyl that I play. I still
Yeah.
There's something about the sound of vinyl.
And the pops and the little cracks.
Yeah, it's just more analog. I don't know what it is. It's also because I grew up, like cassettes tape didn't come out till I was 14 years old, and then I couldn't afford one till I was a cassette player till I was like 16 years old. So all my music was on vinyl, and
Yeah.
so that's sort of engraved in my brain. So I
have my turntables in my music room where I have my graded vinyl shelf, and then I have a stack of records that I don't plan on grading that I just play whenever I want. So it is like, with encapsulation, you only do the ones that you're not going to play.
yeah. So you're like a bin collector forever. Just you had
Yeah.
and then you probably had like a separate little bin of your kind of Grell stuff.
My whole wall now is graded vinyl. I just graded I have so many because I just collected. I call myself an organized hoarder because I have like hordes of stuff that I just go through, and now I'm sorting and having like a display for everything.
So I'm so sure there's some days where you're just like, oh, today's the day I'm just gonna go online and degen out and like
Yeah.
see what kind of
Oh,
raw
yeah.
stuff I can find.
Yeah, I'm going right now on eBay. I'm just buying all the like sealed stuff that's like that I've been looking for because the market isn't mature with graded vinyl, and when it matures, it's
I think I'll
we're
go
gonna see
through.
what's going to
I think an original Butcher cover. Eventually, I'll go for $1 million.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's just. I mean, like I was saying earlier, it's just so important to our psyche. Music is just. This is why certain guitars go for $1 million. Things like that. I mean, it's just you grew up with it, and there's that magic weirdness with music that just touches your soul. You know what I mean? I don't know what it is. I mean, literally, you can, like I said, I'm a lot older. So, like, I listen to Hotel California. I probably listened to it 1,000 times. I'll be in my bar singing it to the top of my lungs.
Yeah.
You probably listened to it more than 1,000. You probably made me listen to it 1,000 times.
I like my old music.
Yeah, Rick, you listen to good music, I'm not going to lie, but he listens to the same songs over.
No,
and
I
over
don't.
and
You know
over.
what? I
There's
think we're all
thousands of
creatures of
songs.
habit, though.
Yeah.
You know, because I have like like when I'm working out, I always just end up putting on hardcore. Or,
Oh, yeah.
you know, I'm not playing like dance music 24/7 just
No,
because I'm
when
a
I
DJ.
cold plunge, I listen to the same song every time.
Which song is that?
The Jim Hero song. Or no, I'm sorry, the Swayze song. The Swayze song.
When I'm at the gym,
Because it's
I-
exactly like, it's like 3 minutes and 20 seconds, so I know,
Right.
like, I'm in there
Yeah.
for 3 minutes. By the time I start it, get in there, and, like, it's finishing, I get out.
I used to do that to a Radiohead song because the Radiohead song is about 4 minutes and something seconds.
Yeah.
Or 4 minutes 50 seconds. So I play it and it's just a piano.
Yeah.
It's just piano and Tom York. So I'm like, oh, this is just a vibe.
For me,
Gets
it's
you in
like,
place.
okay, like, I don't have to pay attention. I know where we're at in the song. I know I'm halfway through it because, like, 37 degrees in that water for 3 minutes is,
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
pretty
when
brutal.
I work
so.
out, I listen to like Disturbed or like Motorhead.
That makes sense. And the Ace of Spades. Some Lemmy.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
listen to some ratchet music when I work out, but,
I mean, it's like I kind of mix it up with the workout music, but yeah, I mean Linkin Park, the Rage Against the Machine, that always just like makes me.
Yeah,
you know.
Rage always pumps me up.
Oh,
too.
yeah.
I didn't like Rage Against the Machine when they first came out. I mean, I was young, but after like 2 years, I was like, I was just being a hater.
I grew up in hardcore, and Zach used to be in a hardcore band I used to listen to, so like the lineage of Rage for me was from.
Yeah, I
day
was
one.
like Nirvana, and then right after that, like that 90s to early 2000s punk rock is. I'm 2002, I think, is when I would have graduated. So that early AFI, Guttermouth, early NoFX, the Vandals, Pennywise. That was kind of what I grew up alongside with, like hip hop. Up in that, Eminem. You got West Side Connection, all that West Coast stuff. Mac Dre.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was like a weird mix of music.
I think that's interesting because like since I grew up in Southern California, so I was listening to all that punk too, but yes, West Coast. I was like more on West Coast side. So like anything NWA, Eazy-E, DJ Quick, that whole West Coast like hip hop.
That was the
rap.
time for
It was,
West Coast
yeah,
music.
it was like that's what I listened to. So I had like of course I collect that stuff. So I have like anything
bet your collection
Eazy-E,
is
anything
just
NWA,
insane.
Dre, Snoop, all that stuff was I mean I'm going in more because now I'm like just like you always want to get the higher grade cards of the ones that you have. I'm like, well, I can if I get it sealed, it's going to be more valuable. So I'm going to try to get the sealed and then sell off the other one. Or this is a higher grade, so the lower grades, and then you have a little community that you.
Do you
talk
get
to.
more of a dopamine kick from like finding a record and getting a good grade, or just buying the record in the highest grade you can find?
I get a kick when I see something pop up on eBay auctions that I'm like, oh my God, I haven't seen this. This is like, and then
Regardless
that's
of the
yeah.
grade,
Then I'm
yeah.
like, okay, I wonder what my limit is.
Yeah.
I hope I don't get chilled. I hope I don't get chilled because I really, really want something.
Yeah.
And some of the stuff is so difficult to find, like the sealed Beatles albums. I mean, imagine getting a sealed album from the '60s.
Yeah.
It's so difficult to find
Yeah.
those. So when they pop up, it's like that dopamine hits you.
Yeah, because people weren't thinking about, I'm going to collect these, right? Like,
Yeah.
And then to find it in 2024 sealed, someone
I think it's probably like old record store owners that like had a closed shop.
Yeah.
And they had this warehouse in
Didn't
the
even
back.
know what they had.
And then they're like, oh my God, we have some gems here.
I
And
mean,
I'm like,
weirder things have happened.
yeah. You
Yeah.
know, like, I mean, just like you just open up. Like I talked to this one family because I'm digging in so deep. And this one family has just like sealed promos, sealed this, sealed that they've stored for decades.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, do you ever get the call like, hey, Steve, I know this person. They're like selling their warehouse inventory. You got to come check it out.
Yeah. I haven't got that call, but I've got the call where we know people that are slowly trickling things out because they're smart not to flood the market, and I'm able to pick through some of the stuff. So I've been lucky there. And some of my friends now in the last like few months, I've been going to my friends and I just bought my friend's entire collection. I was with Fat Mike at the Punk Rock Museum like a few days ago. And I mean, Fat Mike has no effects.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
got
yeah.
like
I
the
grew up
most
on-
insane
You don't have to tell me. I know.
collection of records. So we're talking about that. We want to slap his stuff. We're talking about
I bet he has an awesome
Insane.
early punk rock collection. Yeah.
insane. Yeah, he's got one of the best.
I mean, I can't count how many times I saw Fat Mike on the Huntridge stage right down the street from here when it was like the most punk rock ever. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, but like for the people watching, I'm telling you, like the Punk Rock Museum here in town, they did a really, really good job.
They
with
did.
it.
They did.
Yeah, I've seen
First
so many
time
like
there
pop-up
this week.
museums that just suck. That is really well
I
done.
haven't been.
Super
I need
well
to
work
go.
curated because they have a lot of collectors that were the founding members of the museum that just put their collections into the museum. So like whether it's like clothing, like videos of like the
I mean,
Germs
they have like the
performing.
Sex Pistol. I mean,
Well, we had a great, when I was young, it was a great punk rock scene out here. I mean, I don't know what all these other towns were like, but we did have a pretty good punk rock culture out here growing up.
This is a perfect city for a museum like this too,
Yeah.
because like it's like there's a million museums. This is where you come to go to like the Mob Museum, to like all these different niche museums. So it makes sense it's here.
yeah, I wish our museums were a little closer together. There's way too spread
Yeah.
out here in this town.
Rick
Yeah.
doesn't know anything about Pokemon.
I don't know anything about Pokemon.
I had him on Whatnot with me streaming when Prismatic Evolutions came out.
Oh
and,
yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
That's fun.
not very many people were complaining, but a couple people were complaining that packs were selling for $120. But I was like, if you guys think someone's paying $120 for a pack of Pokemon cards, you're an idiot. They're paying to listen to Rick talk shit about them buying Pokemon cards for $120.
That's exactly what's happening.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
for sure.
Oh yeah, no. So he's like, I mean, I don't know nothing about this. So he's like showing me a Pokemon card. Like, what do you think of this art? I think the art is shit.
He was talking about the Jolteon art. He said-
Yeah, well, yeah.
But that's like magic right there.
The funny thing is, I showed him the Umbreon. He has no idea who Umbreon. He's like, "This is actually good art." I'm
like you
like,
pick the one everyone loves.
"Yeah." I'm like, "Okay, you're a hype beast."
Yeah. You know what people like.
Well, I sell a lot of art. I know what that. It's collectible. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. But like the Pokemon there, we have like here in the shop, we got like, I think right around 40,000 SKUs.
Wow.
So I have 40,000 individual items
That's insane.
in inventory. Yeah, you ought to see what.
That's
It
insane.
takes 6 weeks to do inventory.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But it's taken me
Yeah.
years to finally get him to, like, Pokemon and sports cards. Rick is a little scared of Pokemon and sports cards, but I think Steve will tell you, like, it's a strong market. It's going to go up and
Yeah.
down like all markets, but
Well, I mean, it's interesting that Pokemon and sports cards is very different than any other collectible market because of the community. The community is so big. So it's, like I have, because I'm a collector of all things, toys, art, sculptures, obviously music, everything like, comic books. But with cards, I created Aoki's card house. I didn't create like Aoki's toy house. I created a whole Instagram page just around the cards because the community is so big and strong. Everything's based on the community. So I think that's where it's just a different marketplace of collectibles. And it's like, it's just I think it's easier to move things, sell things, transact, buy things. I feel safer buying something that's expensive in sports cards in the TCG than say like a guitar. That's
Yeah, then you're starting getting. I mean, there's a known market on that. When you start getting guitars and stuff like that, like I said, first off, there's no grading service.
yeah.
Okay.
That's the scary part.
Okay. To get the big money out of guitars, I mean, it's an auction, and then just like it depends on who's feeling well to that day. It's just weird, but yeah, that's why when I buy a big guitar, a really expensive guitar, I mean, I'll look at the person and go like, yeah, it could go for 300 grand, it could go for 150, so I'll give you 100.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the problem with things like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know.
For
But
me,
what
if I
you're
was
doing
to
with
buy a
records
guitar,
here,
though,
I just think that is such a game changer when it comes to collecting music because people have been collecting music forever, and no one thought of this.
yeah. Yeah, this is it's literally the beginning. Where like that's what's interesting is that I'm curious to look back at this podcast interview a few years later and see where the market is, in 2027, 2028, and see where people's minds are at, but I really feel like we're pre-maturation. We're
There's a lot of room for it to grow.
There's so much room for it to grow. So we're here early to get started. We actually, like, when we started the company, AMG, we got seed money to develop the company with some institutional money. And then we just went in and bought our biggest competitor, and we just took their market share and took their equipment. And now we're raising another round and to scale bigger and speed up the supply chain. And
I imagine there will be some bumps in the road to begin with, because you never know. There might be some guy who's got a record store that went BK a week after Nirvana Nevermind came out. It's got 25 unsealed, sealed records sitting somewhere. So
I mean, that's
I'd
good for
buy
the
all-
market.
I'd
as
buy
long
all
as
those.
they're flooded. Yeah, that's
If
what's good.
If he's got
it
25 sealed,
it could make the
I'm a
market
buyer.
go up and
I'm a
down. But
buyer.
I think this is, I think the records are probably a better investment than Pokemon cards right now.
Yeah, I mean,
Well-
you also have a history with records. Like you personally, the thing is with music, everyone has a history with music.
Yeah.
So everyone has been impacted by music, by one age, some age in their life.
And it's never going to stop.
It's never going to stop.
There's
It's just
always
part
gonna
of.
be a
It's
fan.
part of
And I grew up with the best music ever, late 70s, like Led Zeppelin, Black Sabbath.
Yeah, I think the 90s, the grunge scene was just, so beautiful.
Yeah.
It's like Pokemon, because Pokemon's like The Simpsons, where you could be a kid and you could be an old, and it's affected you or impacted your life at some point.
Yeah.
Because like the Pikachu doesn't just get old. It's just 20 years later, like an 8-year-old will love Pikachu. That 20 years ago, that same another 8-year-old loved Pikachu, and then a 40-year-old like me likes Pikachu.
Yeah.
So it's like it's interesting. Like it's incredible what the Pokemon company was able to do, and develop and create this insanity. It's so insane.
think
I'm
IQs.
42 and I didn't start. Well, I started playing Pokemon at 33. And then I started collecting it. But my love of Pokemon came from playing the card game, and I started at 33 years old.
That's awesome.
I walked into the card shop. My girlfriend at the time bought me, for Christmas, because I kept looking at the Pokemon cards and the Magic cards at Walmart or Target, wherever I was. And so for Christmas, I got a starter deck for Magic, starter deck for Pokemon. So I went to the card shop, and I looked. I go, Magic players? The Pokemon players dress like me. This is my crowd. So I sat down and learned
It's
how to
so
play
interesting that you say it
Pokemon.
like that too, because they're two different. Like you were gonna identify with what the characters are, or what the players look like. Like, oh, I identify with these guys more, so I'm just gonna go in that direction.
All right, so enough about Pokemon. Tell me about cake throwing and how that started.
We actually threw a cake one time on the show in honor of you, me and my
Oh, that's
friend,
awesome.
Yeah, because I literally show up and they're throwing
It was
cakes.
after our episode that we filmed with. I forget what we
The
decided
Funko
to
Pop
settle
thing?
some kind of score by throwing a cake.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay, right,
and it'd be
right.
like, and I just thought it was the weirdest thing ever because they're throwing cakes, and I'm like, so how did that start?
So, in the late 2000s, that's when, I really started playing a lot more shows. So like in the mid 2000s, I started DJing, and then by the late 2000s, I started playing some festival gigs, and the festival gigs like Coachella in particular, made me think about shows differently, because I'm like, well, now I have a huge crowd to play in front of. I have to do things instead of just play music. I need to entertain them. And that's when, the kind of construction of thinking of different ideas of what I can do for the crowd, that was just getting started. So like 2009, I started out by going, oh, I wonder what it'd be like to life raft on top of people. So we got like 4 inflatable life rafts, put them in the crowd, and then jumped in the life raft, and we just float around. I'm like, wow, this is insane. This is fun. People like this. And
There's a lot of trust.
Yeah, and then like the next issue of Rolling Stone is a picture of Coachella collage, and it's like Paul McCartney, and then this like upcoming DJ Steve Aoki in a life raft. So somehow I made it in there because I'm in a life raft. I'm like, well, people like it in the media too. So I was doing that every show, and I'm like, well, 2011 comes around. 2 years later, I'm like, I gotta evolve. I gotta add something new to the show. And I was like, oh, I wonder what it'd be like to cake somebody. This is going to be interesting. This is going to be, an absolute failure, most likely, but I have to try it. I think this is just, it's like
Because like I'm just saying, if I'm in a crowd and I got a cake in the face, I'm like, what the fuck?
that's exactly what I was thinking. I'm like, I don't think anyone's gonna really enjoy
It's
it.
an honor.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, now it's different, but
I mean, at Collecticon, after you would do your performance, they would walk around, because I would vend, and they would walk around wearing their cake on them like a badge of honor for
it's
the rest of the day.
100% like this now. It's different because it's culture. The beginning when I was like showing the cake to people, I remember I had a video guy. I'm like, we got to film this and we got to put this up because this failure might be a viral. So I'm like showing it around and people were like really confused. And then there was like this one guy in the front just hammered and all his friends around him were like, it's his birthday. I'm like, oh shit. And like everyone's pointing, he's pointing himself, he's screaming. I'm like, wow, that was not that difficult. And I pounded him with cake and his friends were eating off his face. He's eating off the floor. He's just like screaming.
The first one was the best one.
Dude, it was so epic.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is happening every night. So I went to the supermarket every single show before the show, and I would decorate the cake. I would do the whole thing, and it started off with 1 cake a show, then it went to 5, then it went to 10, and then it went to 20. And now it's around 10, between 10 and 20.
Now you're having to like call ahead of time and make sure they have enough cake for you.
Well, now it's not even about that. Now we have a cake writer. So, it's 15 years ago. So 16 years ago. So now we have a specs that we want for our cake because I want that cake to be explosive. Mm-hmm. It's going to, I'm throwing your face. So
does you work with a
can't be
baker
a
to
frozen
get the
cake.
specs down?
Yeah, it's all like
You
6-page
want like
cake
angel
writer.
food, they'll just fly apart.
Yeah, that way I can I've caked 20,000 people, so this cake has to be made to smash in your face. So it's different.
Well, I think you found the right thing because you haven't had to it's still going.
Yeah,
People
it's still going.
want to be caked.
It's still going. People love it. It's messy, so some clubs don't like it, and so they're like, we don't want you to cake here, so we don't cake there. But for the most part, festivals for sure, outdoor shows, like cakes are going to be flying for sure.
Well, it might be messy, but if it draws the crowd, it draws the crowd.
Dude, you should have brought I should have brought a cake.
I don't know why you didn't bring a cake.
Dude,
that was for sure what it
would have been so awesome for me and Rick to get caked.
I don't.
That best screams cake me.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I always say. You should get caked at least once in your life by the cake guy. At least one time in your entire life, have a cake in your face. I mean, I've even like caked my mom a little bit. She's 81.
Well, maybe we'll revisit the record scene in a couple years.
Maybe when my daughters are in town, we'll go to the club here and I could be the sacrificial lamb.
You'd be the cool dad for sure.
So, you collect a lot of things.
Yeah.
What do you like collecting the most? Can you pick one thing?
Yeah, I mean, like my appetite with cards is pretty full. So now I just like to be part of the community. Mm-hmm. So that's why I have a company called Caked Breaks, and it's entirely sports card driven. Actually, my partner right here. Yeah, right here. They run it from Vegas.
Okay.
So they do Cake Breaks and they just stream sports cards. And they just know everything about sports cars and have a sports car community. So I like to be part of that. And I'm also co-founder of Crossing TCG, which is a huge Pokemon streaming company. They have like 40 streamers a day. Wow. And based in LA and now in Vegas. And my partner's actually here, Taylor. And so I just like to, I'm a businessman. I'm an entrepreneur. So whenever I get involved, I like to just be part of the community and be a service to the community. And with these guys, we can do that. And also, as an entrepreneur, I like to create my own IP. So that's why I created Hero Quest. I wrote a book, which is right here. I actually brought 2 for you guys.
Okay.
So this is the first manga. And it's 250
Do you know what manga
page.
is, Rick? He loves books, so
The
this
Japanese
is good.
comic book.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's for you. And, you get the lower grade.
It's all right. I'll trade them. Grade's not important. We all want the highest grade, but now I have an opportunity to look for a higher grade. Right?
Yeah, and then you have the autographed first volume, first edition. So that's so this is the first manga, and we actually made our own cards. So we have.
Mine's a 9.4.
We'll see if that actually goes home with you.
So I I made this set last year, and this is for you guys.
All right, I'll be taking that.
This is we only made 1,100 boxes, so these are really rare cards.
Okay.
So you want to open it up right now? Or?
I was gonna say I'm gonna rip it regardless. Yeah, let's open it.
Let's
Yeah.
rip it live.
Yeah.
I mean, we could do it later or now, but
No, let's rip it. Yeah.
yeah, it's only 4 cards in here.
Let's go.
There's only
Okay.
4 cards
What
in
are
the
we
whole
searching
box.
for?
1-on-ones.
Okay.
Hero, and Hyro, because
Okay.
Hero Quest,
Okay.
and like his alter ego is Hyro. So
All right. Are you
that
ready
hasn't
to
been
pull
pulled.
one
So
on one,
so
Rick?
this is a card game you came up with.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So I got cards, we got mangas.
So is this a
and-
collectible card or is it a card game? Tell me
Yeah,
a
so
little.
it's not a game yet. We're creating the game. So I'm working with Crossing, and we're developing all the game mechanics and.
Well, let me know. I play games. I'm not the best, but if you are having a play night and you want someone to come over and test, if you
Yes, I would
teach
love
me the
that.
rules, I could definitely play.
100%. Yeah, definitely give you some early boxes and stuff.
All right, here we go.
Okay, so we have a box within a box.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
That is a fancy looking box right there.
Yeah. It's an expensive box. So to produce these things, it's like $20 for this box. Okay. All right. So first off is you have a card here. So it's a redemption card that's no longer redeemable.
Okay.
Because it's too late. But
I
still
know a
cool
guy.
card.
Do you think maybe?
But I'll autograph these cards for you guys too. Okay. So this is the first edition of the graphic novel.
Okay.
1,100 of these made, and then you have the CD inside, and then the 4 cards right here. We'll do the sweat. So you got a Love Brains Legendary.
Okay. Let's see.
They're all, even the base cards are numbered to 345.
So is legendary? Where is that on the scale of rarity?
That's the lowest. That's like a base card,
Okay.
but it's a 345 made of that card.
Okay.
Because it's only 1,100 boxes. So then it's you have 3 legendaries in a box, and then you have the hit.
One chance to.
So yeah. So this is the Levi Legendary.
Okay.
And then let's see, this could be the chase card. So this is your chase card, which is an enchanted Levi. So that's
Okay.
the next highest parallel to 90. Then it goes artifacts to 10, and then the 101. And then you have another Masa Legendary.
Okay.
So these are for you guys. I'll definitely autograph.
I'm
for you.
keeping the enchanted, Rick.
Let me see him. I got him back.
Here you go. Check it out.
I like the art of this.
Yeah. Thank you.
Check the box out here. All right, it was definitely nice packaging. I mean, you get it.
Yeah.
Ripping something is like part of the culture.
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
This feels like it would be a
I
good
really like the
experience
art
to
of
rip
that.
here.
And I have cards I want you to sign because I want to do a scavenger hunt in Vegas.
Perfect. I have a card for you to sign too.
Yeah, and then we're
So-
gonna give it away. We're gonna give the
Perfect.
card away. So
Yeah. So, how long has your card game been around for?
we started Hero Quest. So Hero Quest started as a music album. Whenever I start a musical album, I create a whole IP around it. So before Hero Quest, I had this album called Neon Future, and I did 4 albums with that. And then I created a comic book around that, and then I did an NFT project around that. That was for Neon Future. And the Hero Quest is something that started during COVID, and then I worked with MetaZoo to do the first card set, and we dropped that like 2021. And then we started our own cards, which is this, which dropped like end of 2023, 2024, beginning of 2024. So it's just started. This was kind of the introductory set, and then we're going to be dropping like bio cards, kind of introducing the like a proper box,
Well,
box.
let me know when
And
you
then
have some
game.
stuff. I'd love to get my hands on some stuff to just rip on my
Yeah.
for my Instagram channel and stuff.
Yeah.
I post a video every day on my Pokemon page, but I don't just do Pokemon. I do graded stuff. I wanted to get some albums to have you grade, but
I'm happy
just-
to grade whatever you guys want.
I keep
I'll
meaning to
fast
go
track
to the
it for you guys.
record store and buy some because I don't have like any good ones to have
Yeah.
graded right
I'll
now.
try and
Grade
find
some
Maybe
of
I'll
your
just
stuff.
get some of Rick's. Yeah.
Yeah. Can someone find me my Nirvana album?
I'll find it. Don't you worry about it. I'll find it and I'll get in
Out
contact
of
and
the
I'll
40,000
get it graded.
SKUs, it might take you 6 months.
Don't worry. I promise you'll get it
I
back,
got a pretty
Rick.
sophisticated inventory system. We actually find everything.
Well, do you have anything else going on that you want to talk about?
Yeah, I mean, Hero Quest is like an ongoing project of mine that I care really deeply about because it combines my music and collectible culture. And, obviously with Crossing and Cake Breaks, we're able to service the community and have fun ripping and doing stuff like that. And, yeah, and then that's like, and
So
music's my backbone. And AMG is like, a company I'm heavily investing into and connecting with my other musician artists friends to really build the ecosystem around music collectibles.
So say I wanted to go rip some cards at Cake Break. Where do I find that at?
So Cake Breaks it's on, like, you can go to Nick's house. I'm sure he'll invite you. So it's.
But do you guys live stream?
Yeah. We live. Where are we live?
TikTok, whatnot. Okay.
Yeah. So TikTok, they're on every day. So anything sports related, like Nick would, he might like it crazy if you jump on his.
I
thing.
just
like,
DJ'd at Sports HQ the other night. I went,
Oh,
have
Cards
you been
HQ.
there? Cards
Yeah.
HQ. Have you
Yeah.
been there?
Yeah.
So we did a first edition Fossil Break with Waka Flocka, and
Oh,
then
sick.
after that, I walked into a room and they were ripping cases trying to search for downtowns, and they were like, "Do you want to rip?" I'm like, "No." They're like, "Here, rip a pack." I ripped a pack. I go, "I need a case. I need another case." Finally, I hit a Josh Allen downtown.
Yeah,
And then I was like,
yeah.
"Okay, I'm done. We can go."
Yeah,
But
for sure.
once you know how it is.
Yeah.
Especially they were like, they had a bounty. Whoever gets the best downtown wins this or whatever. But
I have
literally,
no idea what the fuck you're talking
ripping
about.
is so fun, Rick.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
so
it's-
if someone's got an album
Yeah.
and whether it's rare or not rare, but they just want to get it
Graded.
encapsulated,
Yeah.
slabbed, where do they send it?
Audiomediagrading.com.
Audiomediagrading.com.
Yeah. Or like Instagram's at AM Grading. At
AM grading on
Yeah.
Instagram. They figured out from there.
But like it's just like PSA or Beckett, it's
I mean,
just,
they can send it in direct. They don't have to go through a dealer.
You go through audiomediagrading.com's website, you type in all the details and ship it off and cassettes, 8-track CDs, vinyl,
Okay.
Vinyl is probably the most popular
Like my
medium.
parents back in the day had a reel-to-reel.
Yeah, those two. Yeah, so the reel-to-reels, like we had to get that specially done because some of the artists, they have those. They're like, this is dusting up in the back closet. If we can just encapsulate it, so now we're encapsulating
Because those old reel-to-reels, you can't really play anymore because they're dried out. They'll break.
You want those sealed up.
Yeah.
I mean, preserved. They're a museum. Like these are like museum items. And like anything that's a museum item should absolutely be encapsulated.
I mean, I don't know if I still have it, but I had. You ever seen like the wire recorders and the wire records?
No.
It came out in the early 50s. It was a complete flop. It was like the Betamax of music, and it was a micro thin steel wire,
Wow.
and it had a magnetic recording on it.
That's
And
interesting.
they put out music. I mean, you could record on it and everything like that. It was out for like 2 years, and it was like mega expensive, and it was a complete flop. I think I still might have one of those. It's a weird type of music recording.
that should be preserved.
Yeah.
For the history books.
Yeah, but
so
it was like
that's really
a
interesting.
really micro thin wire, and it was the first magnetic tape.
Yeah.
It was like magnetic tape, but it was on a wire.
That's
I'm going to
awesome.
go through those 40,000 SKUs and then I'll be in contact.
Yeah,
I still want
might
to talk to you
have
about that Kurt Auto. Kurt Auto,
I got it
Cobain
around-
Auto.
I'll talk to Jeff and see if he can locate
talk to
it,
Jeff.
and
He'll
then
know.
I'll-
That would
I'll
be
let you know.
awesome. That would be, and you guys got to come by my house because most of the stuff is now vaulted. I have like a lot of my high-end stuff vaulted at PSA Vault, but I still have a few gems and a lot of my records. And I would love to invite you guys if you guys ever want to come.
One of the coolest music thing I own. I own the original photographs from the Abbey Road photo shoot.
That's insane.
So you know how he wasn't
That's
wearing
insane.
shoes?
Yeah.
Paul.
Yeah.
I have photos where he's walking
He's
across
not allowed
Abbey
to
Road
sell them, though.
with shoes on. There's a little thing saying like someone says they have the copyright. It's like show me the copyright, but they won't show me the copyright. And they're threatening to sue if I sell it. But like I got some copies. I'll show them to you.
That's incredible. That's really cool.
I'm sure you could probably print some up and give them away.
Yeah, I mean it's just the way. Yeah, I'll show them to you though.
Yeah, I've before I walked in there, I didn't realize the kind of collector trove of just insane stuff that you guys are sitting on here. You know, and you're like, yeah, we have that. We have 40,000. I'm like, holy shit! I almost forgot. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna talk about like some fun stuff, but like, then you walk in, you're like, holy shit, fucking history's here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Rick has done a good job. We used to always say like, Rick always wanted to make a pawn shop, and he did. Like, there wasn't like your typical pawn shop down the street because we're on Las Vegas Boulevard, right? So, I mean, even when I've been here 22 years or so working, and even before I got here, like he had the power tools and the row of CDs and movies, but always on the wall there was fine art, there was some type of collectible areas on the shelf, and you know, over time, since I've started working here in those 22 years, it's just become more and more of like a collectible magnet. So people
That's
know
awesome.
that when I come to Vegas, I can bring my cool collectible to the pawn shop and they'll probably buy it for me. You know,
Right,
we
right.
buy the stuff that's hard to sell.
Yeah.
And people know that they can come find it here, or they can go on gspawn.com and see what we have available there.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, I've gotten so much weird stuff over the years. You would love it. I mean, I had pieces of the Hindenburg. I just sold it, yeah.
Wow. How do you value that? That's like
Actually, that's not as hard as you think, because we would, a few of them were actually, some guys on the ground grabbed pieces.
right.
So I actually got it. But the best part about it was the guy worked. The guy I bought him off of, his father was stationed at Lakehurst, New Jersey, and he included the telegraph to his mother saying, I'm not going to be able to make it home tonight. The Hindenburg just crashed, and they're making me stay here for a couple extra days. He was part of the Coast Guard.
Wow.
Well,
Yeah, it's like when you have that kind of authenticity, you can't go wrong.
Yeah.
You know?
Rick can pretty much look at anything and put a value to it. Whether you agree or not is another thing.
Well, I did see when Gary King Pokemon came in here. That's like that went viral. You know, years and years and years ago.
That was in early 2016, like, you know, before Pokemon had reached.
Yeah, I mean that
point it
that
was.
clip was like probably one of the first clips I saw about Pawn Stars.
Yeah.
I'm like, you know, like during the COVID boom, when they were
Pokemon
like,
clip.
yeah, I was like, yeah, that when that went viral. That was like one of the first things I've seen, and people were like, wow, King Pokemon's the G. He has all those
Yeah.
Charizards.
Yeah, I don't
you
go
know?
a day without getting asked about that.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a viral clip. You know, I had them saved in my phone. I remember Logan got that card from him, and then I called Logan up. I'm like, I want to get one of those PSA 10 Charizards. He's like, I got the guy for you. And then and I saved his name as Gary like Pawn Stars. You know, he was like known as the guy from the
Yeah.
Pawn Stars.
Yeah.
Like that was his thing.
Yeah, no, Gary's great. Well, you're a huge part of the collectible market. I mean, you have a great collection. I was happy that you agreed to come in here today because I knew we were going to talk about collectibles. It's been amazing.
I just love the
I will
music.
come over. I'm going to bring Rick over, and we're going to come check out everything.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
got
yeah.
there.
Come
So,
by. We
be
could
fun.
do like a part 2 there. You could film there. That way you can kill 2 birds with one stone. Or you could just come by and jump in the cold plunge and.
I don't do the
and
cold
check out-
plunge. I'm old.
Okay.
All right, man. It's been absolutely amazing.
Excellent.
And I'm going to go dig up my Nirvana album.
Yeah.
This is Pawn After Dark.